Harihi Om, Gita Prastavikam. Rather, Why I Like Study of Gita by S.L. Abhyankar. This Gita Prastavikam comprises of the following parts. Part 1, Learned Commentaries and my prompt to study Gita and Sanskrit together. Part 2, the title Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Gita Mahatmyam. Part 3, the ritualistic beginning by Karanyasa and Hridayadinyasa. Part 4, Gita Dhyana Shlokaha Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam. Part 5, Mangalacharanam. Part 6, Namanavakyam Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Part 7, Gitakhya Prasangaha and Anukramanika of Gita Dhyayaha. Anukramaha of the above 7 parts is with the logic that would lead one to embark on study of Gita from Prathamodhyaya. Before that, here below is the detailing of the parts one by one. Now on to Part 1, Learned Commentaries and my prompt to study Gita and Sanskrit together. Very learned authors who wrote well-acknowledged commentaries on Gita had already studied Gita before delineating their commentaries. It seems that they put forth their commentaries with specific objectives. I would like to mention the following 9 commentaries and put notes on what appealed to me to be their objectives. Shankara Bhashyam in Sanskritam by Adi Shankaracharya. This, dated to be of the 8th century, is important because it was advocated in the environment which was overwhelmingly pervaded by the atheist philosophies and the diktat of non-violence, the cornerstones of Jainism and Buddhism. These had sort of lent an appalling negativity and apathy towards even the scientific and socially essential thoughts in the Vedas. The style of Shankara Bhashyam is prosaic, with the words and phrases taken in the same sequence as in the original text. So, Adi Shankaracharya seems not to consider it necessary to indulge in syntactical rearrangement, that is Anvayaha. It also should be noted that verse by verse, Shlokanushlokam Shankara Bhashyam starts only from 2-11, second chapter, 11th shloka onwards. The entire first chapter and the first 10 shlokaha of the second chapter are covered in a prefatory bhashyam. Maybe Adi Shankaracharya thought that these first 57 shlokaha do not contain much spiritually or philosophically significant knowledge and hence are not worthy of Shlokanushlokam Bhashyam. One may not agree with this view, since Arjuna Vishada Yogo Nama Prathamodhyaya may be taken to be Atmanivedanam by Arjuna. May it be noted that Atmanivedanam is regarded as one of the 9 ways of being devout, Navavidha Bhakti. See, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakhyama Atmanivedanam in Srimad Bhagavata Puranam 7.5.23. Then second commentary which appeals to me is Bhavartha Deepika in Marathi by Santa Shri Dnyaneshwar, popularly known as Shri Dnyaneshwari. This commentary of the late 13th century is important because it was advocated in the environment that the study and knowledge of the scriptures was restricted to the upper castes, especially the Brahmanas and Kshatriya castes. Shri Dnyaneshwar broke the shackles of that social convention and had in his audience people from all strata. The book Shri Dnyaneshwari is very much respected and held sacred especially in Maharashtra, more specifically among Varakaris, people who trek to Pandharpur barefoot every year. For many, recitation of and listening to Sri Jnaneshwari is an act of devotion in 4 of the 9 ways: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and Vandanam. Next commentary, Gita Rahasya तथा कर्मयोग शास्त्र in Marathi by Lokmanya Tilak. This, dated of early 20th century, is important because Lokmanya Tilak was seriously concerned that Indian psyche had become placid to the looting by the British, not only of the terrestrial wealth but also of the skills and academic intelligence inherent in the cultural heritage of India. Gita Rahasya is also special that a significant part of it contains essays on different themes. The subtitle or alternative title, Karma Yoga Shastra, explains why Lokmanya Tilak thought it fit to apply his time in the Mandale prison to scribe his book on Gita. It seems Lokmanya Tilak thought that the earlier commentaries, especially Shankara Bhashyam and Sri Jnaneshwari, had called people to resign to the fatalistic philosophy and not to do anything against the British rule and its imperial injustice. The fact of the matter for the philosophy of Gita was to prompt Arjuna to fight the war. So the interpretation of karma sannyasa, moksha sannyasa as advocacy of inaction was a wrong interpretation. One of his important essays is about the subtitle or alternative title, Karma Yoga Shastra. Next comes Essays on the Gita by Sri Aurobindo. As is clear from the title itself, these are basically essays, which is sort of an endorsement of the style as set by Lokmanya Tilak of studying Gita thematically and by a set of essays. There is a small booklet, Anasakti Yoga, by Mahatma Gandhi, originally in Gujarati. From the title itself, one can take it that Mahatma Gandhi viewed Gita to be advocating the philosophy of detachment. There is also the book Gita Pravachane, Discourses on Gita by Acharya Vinoba Bhave, originally delivered in Marathi when he was imprisoned by the British. His audience was co-prisoners. The objective was to elucidate how the advocacy in Gita is helpful to keep one's calm even in the midst of turmoils in life. What is charming about the literary style of Acharya Vinoba Bhave is simplicity and lucidity. In Gita Pravachane, Acharya Vinoba Bhave does not detail shlokanushlokam bhashyam. His discourses are sort of essays, though not on specific themes. They are brief summaries of each adhyaya. Discourses on Gita by Osho. Importance of these discourses is in the context that the audience included the affluent of the Western world, who were disillusioned by the want of self-assuring peace in spite of all the affluence. The discourses are very eloquent and so exhaustive that his discourses on the 3rd chapter alone are compiled in a 353 pages book. Next is the book Gita as Is by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. Importance of the ISKCON movement is that it also included the affluent of the Western world who were disillusioned by the want of self-assuring peace in spite of all the affluence. Spread of ISKCON far and wide merits appreciation. But from another point of view, to say Gita is as has been interpreted in the said book smacks of ego, which is a vice very much abhorred in Gita. The title also seems to discourage any self-same study or study by any other author. This also is bad. Next is Gita as the Philosophy of God Realization in English by Gurudev Ranade. First published in 1959 by Nagpur University and later by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. The title of the book has a subtitle which underscores the importance of the book, that it provides a clue through the labyrinth of modern interpretations. Obviously, Gurudev takes stock of various interpretations, including all those mentioned above, and also of interpretations of Gita by Western philosophers. Rather, it is based on a scholarly study of both Western and Oriental philosophical thought, conclusively establishing that the philosophical thought in Gita is universal and eternal and is a pathway to God. Having noted that the above authors had already studied Gita before delineating their commentaries, in my case, I have been doing some self-same study of Gita and have been posting them at my blog https://study1 Gita to Sanskrit.wordpress.com. Of late, I am posting them also at https://www.blogger.com/u/l, etc. I cannot say that I have studied Gita completely. Rather, I would never like to say that, because quite often when I get to study a shloka which I would have already studied earlier, a new meaning, a new nuance presents itself. Acharya Bhattataut gave the definition Prajna Navanonmesha Shalini Pratibha Mata, meaning Prajna is such Pratibha which is Navanonmesha Shalini, that is, which brings forth a galore of novelties. It is such Prajna which is inherent to Gita, which makes the principles propounded there eternally valid. Just as a contemporary example, the coronavirus has become a matter of global anxiety. One safety measure advocated is social distancing. One need not be surprised that the concept of social distancing is very much advocated in Gita. See, Vivikta Desha Sevitvam Aratir Jana Samsadi. This is in Gita 13-10. Obviously, none of the learned commentaries would bring forth that this quote advocates that social distancing which we understand today. I started my studies of Gita basically wanting to understand Gita from its original Sanskrit text, also with the idea of studying Gita and Sanskrit together. I firmly believe that the study of any text should be by a study also of its language. Such study saves one from the bias of other authors. As explained in the above notes on 9 books, every author has an objective and a viewpoint, and there has been an environment which he had to counter. I, as a student, need not do my study with those biases. Also, most of the above books do not help a student to understand the linguistic niceties and grammatical nuances of Sanskrit inherent in the original text. But this effort of studying Gita and Sanskrit together has also been evolving. There is a good shloka about how to study any Sanskrit text. Padacheda padarthoktir vigraho vakya yojana akshepasya samadhanam vyakhyanam panchalakshanam. This means that study of any Sanskrit text should proceed as follows. Padachedaha, that is breaking the coalescences, sandhayaha, so as to identify every padam distinctly. Padarthoktihi, pada artha uktihi, that is detailing the meaning of every padam. Vigraha, this is also most relevant for compound words. For example, padarthoktihi is a compound word made up of the component words pada, artha, uktihi. The meaning of the compound word needs to be deciphered by a phrase which is called as vigraha vakyam, such as padasya padanam va arthasya arthanam va uktihi, padarthoktihi. Vakya yojana, that is make sentence-like syntactical rearrangement of padani. Akshepasya samadhanam. The Vakya Yojana may prompt inquisitive queries. Rather, a study should prompt queries in the student's mind. More often than not, answers to questions are in the questions only. Getting the answers is the true satisfaction, samadhanam, of having done the study. This is like the proverbial wisdom, success is its own reward. Vyakhyanam Panchalakshanam. So, Vyakhyanam is a detailed study of any Sanskrit text, has these 5 facets, Lakshanani, Panchalakshanani. Of late, I came to deliberate upon the 6 Vedangani, Shad Vedangani, enumerated in Shiksha Kalpo Vyakaranam Niruktam Chandasam Chaya Jyotisham Ayanam Chaiva Vedangani Shadevatu. It comes to mind that these Shad Vedangani can also be taken to advocate 6 aspects to be pursued when studying any Sanskrit text, namely Shiksha, correct pronunciation. Because correct pronunciation of Gita text cannot be dealt with in a write-up such as this, I have also made many videos and are in my YouTube channel https://www.youtube.com/channel/UCHUW6UVN etc. You can take a snapshot of this so that you can, or you can readily access it. Put my name in your YouTube search box, SL Abhyankar, and you will get access to this playlist. Here there is a playlist, Gitayaha Samvadavat Pathanam, containing 18 videos of reading every adhyaya in dialogue style. Basically, Gita is a dialogue, right? So, reading Gita in a dialogue style. Vyakaranam, grammar of all words and of sentence as a whole. Niruktam, etymology. Chandaha, metrical study, including study of figures of speech. Kalpaha, noting the meanings, that is understanding the basic thought. Then Jyotish, exploring interpretations, extended meanings. Note, Jyotish means light, illumination, enlightenment. Result of any study should be Jyotish, enlightenment. The word Vedangani, Veda plus Angani, can be deciphered to connote Veda meaning body of knowledge, Angani organs of knowing. Vedangani, steps in acquisition of knowledge. Let me submit that this interpretation of Shad Vedangani as a framework for study of any Sanskrit text is my own. But this is helpful to me to make my study self-satisfying. Shubhamastu.